a little bit of a struggle to keep up with consumer demand. The impact of Joe Biden's supply chain crisis is not only affecting retailers, but also your wallet. Many stores this year won't be discounting products or passing the savings on to you because they're going to be lucky enough just to get their hands on the stuff in the first place. Joining us now to discuss President Biden's broken supply chain is Pennsylvania Congressman and member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Dan Meuser. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Thanks, John. Good to be with you.
All right. Well, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will address the U.S. Travel Association's Future of Travel Mobility Summit in Washington. This supply chain crisis, of course, is a big issue. He was supposed to be back on the job, but we don't hear a lot of talk about what they're actually doing. President Biden mentioned last week that they were going to get things running 24/7. We know that was kind of a joke, wasn't a serious proposal. But are you hearing about any serious proposals or any serious action this administration is taking to alleviate our broken supply chain?
No, none. As a matter of fact, John, we're hearing the exact opposite. They're engaged in actions that will probably make the situation worse. And maybe somebody can call that the reverse of the Midas touch, but that certainly seems what the Biden administration is all about. I mean, think about it. They've got a transportation infrastructure bill, far from perfect, but it's okay, probably acceptable, but they're making it completely dependent upon the largest expenditure of taxpayer dollars ever in the history of the United States that will manifest nothing, that will deliver no return on investment, because it's nothing more than a big government spending plan, known as they call it, reconciliation. So here we're driving the demand side of the equation with more money, more entitlements, more welfare, more dollars, and doing nothing to improve the supply side and productivity in the United States. And by the way, create incentives to go to work. We're creating incentives not to work. So it's an upside down policy agenda.
A couple things you just said there I want to talk about. The first thing, and I know this seems like a stupid question, but these policies they're pursuing, if they are going to make the supply chain worse, if they're going to break it even worse than it already is, and it's going to cause more inflation, why would any administration want to pursue those policies? Because everyone feels inflation right now, every single person, and it's not working politically for this administration. So why would they continue to go down this road?
Well, they're denying the fact that inflation is existing. I mean, it's existing everywhere. The numbers are out, and yet I think they're actually higher. Unfortunately, because they can, this is their power grab. It's wrong. The American people really should contact every Democrat member of the House and say, stop, kill the bill on this reconciliation. We spent $5.6 trillion last year in recovery and relief. The rescue plan was 3 times too high. That's where inflation began, even though GDP was catching up. It's just wrong-headed, and primarily, John, I think because they know that there's a really good chance they're not going to be in charge of the House in a year and a month. And so this is their opportunity to expand, enhance government in ways that Bernie Sanders and the progressives always dreamed of. Because there's
eat as much as you can from the buffet before they take the plates away, kind of thing. I get it. And the other thing, too, you mentioned, President Biden promised the American public there were going to be 2 bills, 2 separate bills here. The bipartisan infrastructure bill. You talked about some of the things that you say the American public needs. We all agree that we need better roads and bridges in certain places. But it's not. I don't know if he was lying or if he was just being disingenuous or if he got rolled by the progressives. But this really isn't 2 separate bills because they seem to be so closely tied together.
You're right, and it's quite unfortunate. You can talk to one Democrat, and they'll say, "Oh, they're not combined," and then someone else will give a speech on the House floor and say, "Oh, yes, one is dependent upon the other." So they clearly are bound together, dependent upon each other. That's very unfortunate. And the president made a deal on the T&I, on the Transportation Infrastructure Bill, which there were many groups involved. It was bicameral. Maybe it could have worked. And then within 20 minutes, he said, no, it's dependent upon the reconciliation. And think about it. Let's look at the supply chain issue that we have, right? The bottleneck. Transportation infrastructure will help alleviate it. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but over time. I mean, we need to modernize. We need to improve our ports.
Yeah, there are certainly no easy fixes here. No easy fixes, and got to get the ball rolling here. And to quote Pink Floyd, you can't have your pudding until you eat your meat. And the infrastructure, the one that everyone agrees on, is the meat here. So anyway, we got to run, Congressman. Great to see you. Thank you for your time.